Republika Południowej Afryki. Kraj głęboko naznaczony czasami apartheidu, nawet ponad 20 lat po jego zniesieniu. Wokół każdego miasta wyrastają ograniczone płotami obszary chaotycznie ułożonych małych blaszanych budynków. Zajmują niekiedy porównywalne połacie ziemi co same miasta. Zostały wzniesione przez czarnych Afrykańczyków, odseparowanych przez białą mniejszość na mocy urbanistycznego ustawodawstwa przełomu lat 40. i 50. XX wieku. Najlepsze ziemie oddano białym, reszta została przeniesiona poza granice miasta i musiała sobie jakoś poradzić.
And actually this is like a restaurant market because
Yeah, something like a restaurant. They call it nyama.
And how did this township start really? Because you said that this is created by migrants from
Start like it's in apartheid time. You know, people come to work here. To work here. So when they live here and they get like permits to go to work. Like if you go to town, you must have a permit.
You have to just move from, let's say, Eastern Cape to Western Cape?
Here, most of the men, they must have a permit to work in Cape Town. So in certain time, if the time is up, if the permit is expired, they can be arrested.
Okay, so they come here then, yes?
Yes, exactly. But the original Cape Townian.
Efektem procesu wysiedlania czarnoskórych obywateli stały się otaczające miasta slumsy, obecnie nazywane townships. Oficjalnie słowo township jest neutralne. Lokalsi, mieszkańcy miast jednak nadal postrzegają je w dużej mierze jako no-go zones. Zmiana na poziomie nazewnictwa, a nawet inwestycje rządowe nie zmieniły bowiem diametralnie reputacji tych obszarów. Poziom życia, jaki zapewniają mieszkańcom, jest nadal niższy niż w miastach, które otaczają.
The original Cape Townian people, the colored people, or they call them the Khoisan people. Yeah, they call it the colored people. But the black South African, the Cape Townian, they came from the Eastern Cape.
And did this place ever had the problem of, like, for example, migrants from Zimbabwe, you know, some illegal migrants from other countries, other African countries?
Yeah, they're still living together, like especially Zimbabweans, a lot of Zimbabweans, Malawi, Congo. Most of them they live with original South African people. Yeah. So especially Zimbabweans, a lot of Zimbabweans in South Africa. They speak the same language. You know, it's very similar to the
Many of them
culture.
are illegal migrants, or it's usually all legit?
I mean, it's not illegal. It's like most of the foreigners, South African government, they accept them.
Okay.
Accepting means like they give them the paper, like refugee, asylum seekers. So, but because of the Home Affairs problems, sometimes the paper is expired and they call them the illegal. It's not illegal.
Not per se.
Yeah.
Townships odznaczają się dużą różnorodnością, zależnie od tego, jaką grupę ludzi przyciągnęły. Segregacja sięgała głęboko, nawet w ramach wykluczonej ciemnoskórej większości wyodrębniono czarnych, kolorowych oraz Hindusów. Kolorowe townships uznawane są za najniebezpieczniejsze. Składają się one w większości z obcokrajowców, zasilane jeszcze po zniesieniu apartheidu, gdy bowiem legalizujące pobyt imigranta dokumenty traciły ważność, a władze odmawiały ich odnowienia, osoba taka często po prostu znikała w i tak niejako wyrzuconych poza margines społeczeństwa lasach domków z blachy.
And that's why, like sometimes when xenophobia started from the locations, they're attacking especially Zimbabweans or Congolese because they stay together.
But they just create their own colonies, their own townships, or they do come to places like this?
No, they live together.
All together?
Yeah, they live together. Maybe only Nigerians or Ethiopians, East Africans people, they don't stay with the location. There is also some Ethiopians and Somalians actually, like 10, 15 years ago, they are the people, they start a business in township at the foreigner, like call it a spaza shop, like that, a spaza shop. Person can be Somalian or Ethiopian.
Kapsztad, a dokładniej jego okolice, jako sąsiad jednego z najsłabiej rozwiniętych regionów RPA, wschodniego Przylądka, stał się Mekką dla imigrantów, którzy nie mogli zamieszkać w samym Kapsztadzie. Doprowadziło to do powstania niezliczonych townships, zajmujących jeden z niewielu płaskich obszarów otaczających miasto. Niektóre z nich są obecnie praktycznie zupełnie przebudowane dzięki inwestycjom rządowym. Gdybyśmy zdecydowali się wjechać do niektórych z nich, nie zatrzymalibyśmy się tam nawet na moment. Te najbardziej niebezpieczne, o ironio, z zewnątrz wyglądają jak dofinansowane przez rząd odnowione przedmieścia. W rzeczywistości, nie tylko Netflixowej, są to obszary zarządzane przez gangi, gdzie po prostu lepiej się nie zapuszczać, nie znając nikogo z wewnątrz. Nie wszystkie townships na terenie Cape Flats to zarządzane przez gangi no-go zones. Większość z nich zamieszkują zwykli, ciężko pracujący ludzie, zmagający się ze zwiększonym poziomem przestępczości oraz średnio niższymi w skali kraju zarobkami. Przykładem takiej osoby jest Flora, mieszkanka Nyanga, która zgodziła się ze mną porozmawiać.
Okay, so very nice that you agreed to speak with us. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, okay.
Where did you come from to Nyanga?
I was born in Eastern Cape, Transkei, in the Mount Frey town.
Mount Frey town.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I came here, I was still studying at that time, 1989.
How old were you back then, if I may ask?
About 20 years.
And what brought you here? Why did you come here, not
Yeah.
stay in your hometown?
Oh, sorry. Because my parents were working here, my father was working here, and then I had to come here on holiday.
Wschodni przylądek do dziś jest niemą ofiarą apartheidu. Jako słabo zurbanizowany region RPA został wybrany przez władze na miejsce wysiedlenia niebiałej populacji, co doprowadziło do powstania wielu homelands, jak nazwane są townships w raporcie Banku Światowego z 2018 roku, zawierającym analizę biedy i nierówności w RPA. Ograniczony dostęp do infrastruktury oraz usług publicznych zamknął ponad połowę mieszkańców w błędnym kole wykluczenia ekonomicznego. Zgodnie ze wspomnianym raportem, geografia w olbrzymiej mierze determinuje obszary biedy w RPA. W 2015 roku odnotowano najwyższy poziom biedy, niemal 60% mieszkańców, i najniższy spadek jej poziomu właśnie w prowincji wschodniego przylądka. Wraz z nią w tych smutnych statystykach królują prowincje KwaZulu-Natal oraz Limpopo. Ta trójka znajduje się na podium według badań jeszcze z 2006 roku oraz tych przeprowadzonych w 2015, a więc na przestrzeni niemal dekady. W rejon ten zapuszcza się niewielu turystów. Skuszeni pięknymi widokami oferowanymi przez przylądek zachodni, kierują się zwykle w stronę Kapsztadu i usianą winnicami oraz kurortami Garden Route.
So you came here for vacation and your parents were already here?
Yeah, my parents used to live here. Yes, they were working here, and then we used to come for holiday. And then I started coming here to study, and then life goes on.
Then life goes on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you have to leave school?
I left school 1989 November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you were still like around your 20s?
Yeah.
Okay. Was this like regular high school, or you went further with the education you had to?
No, was just in high school.
High school.
High school.
How did you find at first when you arrived? How did you find living here?
Yeah, living here is nice, and it depends on how you behave or treat other people. But there are challenges here and there because too much scholars and too much shooting and all that stuff.
Okay.
It's not nice, but then we can handle it.
So, was there any, situation where you really felt that you were in danger during your stay here?
Yeah, a lot, but we survived. Even here, the scholars used to come here and rob our people, our customers. They shoot our people, and then you see, it's not nice.
It's not. But
Yeah, but
are
now
the,
it's a little bit under control.
okay?
Yeah.
But the people who were shooting, were they from here or from other townships or from outside? Are you aware?
In that point, you wouldn't know if they're coming from other locations because you wouldn't know about the scholars. They just switch their movements. Sometimes some of them come from Kailicha to do the robbing here, and then from here they go that side because we know them. So.
Nyanga nie znajduje się w pierwszej dziesiątce najniebezpieczniejszych townships, ale nie znajduje się również w pierwszej dziesiątce najbezpieczniejszych. Bezpieczeństwo jest poważnym problemem w całym RPA i poświęcę temu zagadnieniu osobny film. Niemniej nie tylko Flora mieszkająca na stałe w Nianga doświadczyła niebezpiecznych sytuacji. Nasz przewodnik, taksówkarz, a koniec końców także przyjaciel, Etiopczyk mieszkający na stałe w RPA, podzielił się z nami jedną ze swoich historii.
And the Galicia is easy to recognize, Galicia people.
But it's dangerous. You can't point them. Even if you know them, you just have to keep your distance.
And do you have some methods how to avoid such situations? Do you, like, you are street smart, you can see that something is starting to be happening?
We had to report it to the big guys. You see?
Big guys.
And then they took control of it.
Okay, so there are some people who just, not the police, not the official police, but you have just friends who...
With the police, it's not that helpful because they don't help us much. They are those business guys who guard all the Somalians, the shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look after them. Whoever does something wrong, they take care of them.
And they are also Somalians, or you don't know?
No, not Somalia. Only our people.
Okay, because you are South African, legit South African, born and raised in South Africa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had 7 siblings. Yeah, I only have 1 left now. All the other 5 have passed away. It's me now and my brother and my children.
And do you mind if I ask how did they pass away, your siblings?
So they were natural causes. My father had cancer and my mother had diabetes. So the other ones, they were not sick, but my big brother had an accident. The other 2 passed away when I was still young from Eastern Cape. So I wouldn't know what happened to them. Because my father passed away before my mother, and then my mother and my brother, and then I was the only one left to look after the other ones.
Yes, you had a lot of responsibility when you were very young, right?
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah,
I had to take that responsibility.
And as you said, you had to give up school because you had to start working.
I had to take care of my brothers.
How old were you when you had your first child?
I was 21.
Not long after you had to give up on school and you lost your parents.
Not too long, yeah.
Everything at the same time.
I had to be strong and stand up for my family.
And also, did you have a partner that helped you in any way, or you were just left on your
All
own?
on my own. No help, no nothing. I had to just focus on doing something so that I can put food on the table.
And how old is your youngest child?
The youngest child died.
Just here on his phone.
About 15.
15. And he's still going to school, right?
Yeah, he started.
And he's going to school somewhere in township, or he goes to Cape Town?
Around the location. Because I can't afford those schools from the town.
You would need to pay for school in Cape Town, for example, even on basic level education, like high school and stuff.
The transport and other stuff, I just can't afford.
I see. And if you want to go to the city, you use these big buses, you have a car, you use these beckies.
I don't even have a car. So if you go, you see, going to Cape Town, you have to use a bus or taxi. There are staff transport that you use, and then you have to pay. I can't afford anything of it. I just have to help them put food on the table, give them clothes, and just look after them.
Priorities.
Yeah.
But you have your own business. I mean, you set up your own business.
This
So
is not so good because times are more difficult now.
COVID did affect your...
Yeah, it killed us.
Because you couldn't stand here selling stuff for like a year or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't
Things
imagine.
have gone bad, really bad. But because we have no choice, we have to come and do our best.
I see. So you had to work against you know, the regulations, the restrictions,
Yeah,
right?
see, even the unemployment rate is too much. Then you can't say I'm gonna drop this and go look for a job because there are no jobs. You have to do something by your own.
I heard that it's not easy to just find a job,
Yeah.
relocate to
Yeah.
Cape Town.
You have to have financial stake here.
That is a difficult thing.
Okay.
We will not...
Flora zmaga się z problemami, które są typowe nie tyle dla townships, ale dla całego RPA. Musiała zrezygnować wcześniej z edukacji, poświęcając się dla rodziny. Dba, by jej dzieci miały wszystko, czego potrzebują, by skończyć szkołę. Została samotną matką, co również jest częścią południowoafrykańskiej rzeczywistości. Zgodnie z badaniami odsetek nieobecnych ojców w RPA jest drugi najwyższy w całej Afryce, zaraz po Namibii. Statystyki te pokazują, że ponad 60% dzieci w RPA wychowuje się bez ojców, co tłumaczone jest problemami finansowymi oraz bezrobociem. Związana z tym migracja zarobkowa, ale także śmiertelność z powodu AIDS również zdają się odgrywać rolę. Z drugiej strony w plemiennej Afryce idea biologicznego ojca jest drugorzędna. Ojcem zostaje się poprzez zapewnienie bytu, opieki oraz dawanie dobrego przykładu swoim potomkom. Nie pomaga to badaczom, którzy sami przyznają, iż nie są w stanie precyzyjnie określić, ilu mężczyzn w RPA spłodziło dzieci. Ponad połowa mężczyzn zidentyfikowanych jako ojcowie nie ma regularnego kontaktu ze swoimi dziećmi. Zauważa się także niski odsetek zawieranych małżeństw, co z kolei jest związane z ewolucją tradycji otaczających ten sakrament. Kiedyś mężczyzna był zobowiązany dostarczyć opłaty za przyszłą żonę, zwaną lobola, w naturze, w formie żywego inwentarza. Obecnie zaś jest to opłata w gotówce, na co nie każdego stać. Statystyki wskazują na silną korelację pomiędzy poziomem dochodów i liczbą zawieranych małżeństw. Pojawia się też pokłosie apartheidu. Niektóre rodziny wysyłały potomstwo do miast, by zyskały lepszą edukację. Inne próbowały zapewnić im spokój i stabilizację z dala od zamieszek i protestów odbywających się w tychże miastach. Problemy, które przed chwilą omówiłam, to oczywiście tylko statystyki. Nie każda historia wychowującego się bez rodziców dziecka jest taka sama. Mieliśmy przyjemność porozmawiać z Markiem, który stracił rodziców zaledwie 2 lata temu. Ma obecnie 17 lat, nadal się uczy i sprawuje pieczę nad swoją młodszą siostrą.
Okay.
17 now.
17.
Yeah, 17.
You're still at school, like the basic level school, right?
Yeah, I'm like final year matric this year.
Do you have plans to go study
Yes.
after that?
I do. I do plan on studying.
And do you know what you're going to study already?
Yes, I do. But can't be too sure because plans change.
I know.
Plans change. You never know. But I do know what I want to study.
So please share with us, if you don't mind.
I'm looking forward to studying psychology maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking of, or sports science, because I love sports so much. But yeah, or maybe I might go into education. That's why I'm just, juggling everything up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In South Africa, can you study for free? For example, if you pass your final exams well enough.
I think yes. If you have a bursary, yes.
Bursary to forma grantu, rządowego bądź przyznanego przez prywatną instytucję dla najzdolniejszych, ale też dla najuboższych uczniów. Sądząc po tym, co mówił Mark, zalicza się on do obu grup. Jest to swego rodzaju pożyczka, trzeba ją więc zwrócić, zwykle poprzez pracę dla instytucji, która go ufundowała.
Yeah, I think you pay it off maybe when you start working or whatever. But right now I do have a bursary.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for high school. So yeah, after that maybe I can apply for another bursary for university then can study further.
And does it really help to get some better job if you have a diploma, or after your education, your current education, it's finished? Can you get a good job pretty easily?
After matric?
Yeah.
Not really, because everyone after matric they want to apply for a job immediately, and then it's a lot of people. So yeah, the more people there are, it's going to be less jobs. I have to study further for a more secure job something that I actually want to do. Yeah, so I think maybe after matric I should actually study just to know that I'm secure.
Mark zrobił na mnie ogromne wrażenie. Jego zapatrywanie na przyszłość, obserwacje dotyczące życia w Charlesville, tego co dzieje się w okolicznych townships oraz samego życia w RPA były przemyśleniami człowieka dojrzalszego niż przeciętny 17-latek. Dorosnąć w tak ekspresowym tempie w wieku 15 lat kazała mu gruźlica, na którą zmarli jego rodzice. Jego siostra miała wtedy zaledwie 12 lat. Gruźlica jest wielkim problemem w RPA. Stanowi to najczęstszą przyczynę śmierci. Nie wnikałam w szczegóły śmierci rodziców Marka, nie chcąc rozdrapywać i tak świeżych ran. Z tego, co zdołałam znaleźć w temacie gruźlicy, jej śmiertelność jest związana z niedostateczną, tudzież zbyt późną diagnostyką, a także z biedą i niedożywieniem. Globalnie RPA plasuje się na 8. miejscu największej zachorowalności na gruźlicę. Pierwsza 16 w rankingu odpowiada za 93% zachorowań na całym świecie. Problem zdaje się być związany z realną dostępnością do służby zdrowia, a raczej jej brakiem, oraz brakiem przygotowania jej pracowników do stawiania poprawnej diagnozy, ale także ze świadomością ludzi o zagrożeniu, jakie gruźlica stanowi. W skali kraju za główną przyczynę tak wysokiej śmiertelności z powodu gruźlicy jest uznawana szalejąca epidemia AIDS, której RPA jest epicentrum. Jakkolwiek stygmatyzujące, obie te choroby są łącznie przedmiotem badań i analiz.
How long have you been living in this area?
Been living here my whole life. So 15 years. I've been in South Africa, yes, my whole life. So yeah, you can say that.
But you originate from South Africa?
My dad was Ethiopian and my mom was from South Africa. She's Sotho.
Okay.
So yeah, they created me.
And they created you already being in South Africa?
Yes.
Oh.
My dad came from Ethiopia to South Africa. Yeah.
And you said that you've been living here for 15 years. Do you remember where were you before?
Yeah. I was in Bloemfontein.
How do you like living here?
I love it. Yeah. I enjoy it. I love South Africa. I actually love it, yeah. But even though I might think of moving to Ethiopia sometime, but I do like it, yeah. No problem, South Africa. I just love the Ethiopian life, but yeah, I love the food. That's my favorite food actually, injera. So yeah, but I just love it, yeah.
RPA jest jednym z najbardziej przyciągających imigrantów krajem Afryki. Największą popularnością cieszy się wśród obywateli Zimbabwe, którzy stanowią aż 24% wszystkich imigrantów. Etiopczycy plasują się tuż za pierwszą dziesiątką największych imigracyjnych społeczności.
They think so.
They think you're colored.
Yes, but they think Ethiopians are colored actually.
Yeah.
But
The way you look, the way you act, and you area also, you live the area.
Yeah.
That puts you in the color category.
Oh, the colored category. No, I put myself in the black category.
Okay.
I just say I'm black because I am black. Ethiopians are black.
Of course. Yeah.
South African Sothos are black. So I just say I'm black. And they classify me as colored.
This is some kind of racism of sorts, I would say, to classify you as colored.
It's not really right. I don't take it as racism. Because sometimes, like, when I go to a colored area, people speak Afrikaans to me because that's the language they speak in most colored areas. And when I go to an area like Gugulete, for example, a township, and they'll speak their language, their native language, closer with me.
Kosa to plemię zamieszkujące obecne tereny RPA, przybyłe z północnej części kontynentu. Zamieszkują głównie tereny przylądka wschodniego. Tak jak wskazał Mark, posługują się własnym językiem. Trzymają się też własnych tradycji i rytuałów. Wspomniana przeze mnie lobola, podlegająca negocjacjom opłata za żonę, jest jednym z przykładów.
But luckily I understand both, so I speak both of them. either way. So sometimes they think I'm Kosa, sometimes they think I'm colored. And then for some reason when I go to a white area, they think I'm white. I don't understand that part.
You what?
I don't understand that part. Yeah, but when I just play along. I just play along, it's fine. As long as I know what I am, who I am, then that's fine. That is fine. Sometimes I have to explain myself, which is a long process. I just say it's a long story. That's it. Cape Town, like you mostly classified it. You see a lot of colors here. This is where colors are originated. Like you won't find colors anywhere else in the world besides South Africa. But Cape Town, that's where I would say they breed in here. Because there's a lot of colors here. So yeah, a lot of people are classified as colored here because mixed race, you know. Can be mother from another country and then you're from South Africa. And then yeah, they just classify you as a colored. If you're mixed race, you're colored.
But those who consider themselves South Africans, they don't have any problem with it. If they view you as a colored person, they are like, you are one of us, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like before, like in apartheid, it was a big thing. That was called racism, just to be classified as colored. But now it's not as much as a big thing because there's a lot of colors now. So most people are classified as them. People are classified as black. Not a lot are classified as white. But yeah, it's a variety. So some play along, some accept it that they are colored. But me, I just say I'm black, but some say I'm colored. It's also, depends.
Dom Marka znajduje się w pobliżu jednego z największych slumsów na świecie. Zgodnie z Wikipedią plasuje się on w pierwszej światowej piątce. Mowa o Kailichia, miejscu, które w XXI wieku nie zapewnia mieszkańcom swobodnego dostępu do wody. Około 70% domostw to niestabilne blaszane chatki. Po drodze udało nam się podpatrzeć proces tworzenia jednej z nich.
It's like 4 different pieces. So we put it in the car and then just fix it.
Oh, you fix it yourself, yeah. So this is this guy's flat. It's a bit like in the random place, isn't it? Like just by the graveyard.
Yeah, you just buy it and then take the house and then maybe you can rent land or something. You can go to a new location. Move like that.
Also, it's like movable.
Yeah. Sometimes if you have like a big bed or fridge, before you build your house, first you have to put You have to put the stuff in it.
Then you about it.
Okay.
And sometimes if you don't come in your house for 3 days, 4 days, then maybe they stole your house.
Oh gosh.
Socjalne budownictwo zwane RDP od Reconstruction Development Program powoli zaczyna wypierać domki z blachy. Jedynie niewiele ponad 50% mieszkańców Kailichia znajduje jakiekolwiek zatrudnienie, z czego około 1/3 wykonuje prace nie wymagające żadnego wykształcenia. Statystyki przestępczości pozostają na wysokim poziomie. Zarazem będąc największym township w okolicach Kapsztadu, przyciąga uwagę międzynarodowych firm oraz organizacji pozarządowych. Wyróżnia się też dobrze rozwiniętym transportem publicznym. Od 2012 roku rozwijać się tam zaczęła publiczna służba zdrowia.
Next door to this area, there is this bad part of the township.
Yeah.
Do you guys communicate with each other? Do they come here? Cause trouble?
This is Charlesville, so Charlesville is in the middle of everything. So we the only ones that actually, there's no activity from us, but activity happens here, but not the people that are not from here.
Yeah.
So the surrounding areas, they would come here, do their thing, and then go. So, but yeah, I have friends from different parts of the area, yes. So it's basically like protection. Protect those areas, protect this area, because some of the people in those areas,
In the townships, yes?
Yes, in the other townships, they actually came here. I call this the retirement spot. Because they used to do their activity and then they come here, they retire, they settle down, and then they live their life because they're getting old now. But then the business or whatever they still did in the townships. It's still going on, but they live here, they lie low, whatever. I don't know what goes on. But yeah, we're just in the middle of everything, and we do communicate to the surrounding areas.
When they come, if they cause trouble, if you say that it's retirement place, then I'm assuming they usually don't cause trouble, eh?
Yeah, but no, there is trouble. There's a lot that happens here. I've seen a lot here, like in the surrounding areas. sometimes it would happen here as well. So yeah,
Okay.
but the people here are not that dangerous, not really.
Just those who come
Yes,
from
they come
outside.
here, yes.
Can you give like example what happened? Some commotion of sorts?
I would say there was this one time, yeah, this side of Charlesville,
Mhm.
it was at the end, by the railway. So there was this one time where there was a robbery and then the child was actually killed. Yeah, baby still in a pram. So she was actually, the child was actually killed, and then there was some gunfire, and I think 2 people died as well. And that was like a couple of years ago. So yeah, and like recently, like especially during New Year's time, that's when they light firecrackers and whatever, and that's usually the time when they shoot, because people won't notice because of the sounds. So they would shoot here over the fields, crossfires and whatever. And I would see it sometimes, and then it's people from other areas fighting with people from other areas, you know.
And
clashing.
you are in the middle.
Yes, again, in the middle of everything. So I see everything sometimes, but yeah, it's not actually as bad as I thought it would be, because it's around the other areas as well. So, but we hear it. We know what's going on. The next day we hear that this person got shot, this person got killed, and whatever. And like in the other area, Montana, like there will be hijacks and whatever, and then people get killed now and then. It's not really as bad as the other areas.
So you feel like you have kids. You feel that they are safe. You feel that your family is safe here, yes?
Yes,
I mean overall.
yes. I feel safe here. The thing is with me is that nothing really happens when I'm outside. And then when I get inside and then I just heard, oh, this happened here where I am. And I thank God for that, because I'm not in the middle of all of that. Like, I'm not there when it happens, but when I get home, then I hear it happen just where I actually was. So yeah.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
So by what you are saying, it is a bit frequent that something happens.
Yeah. But not here where not in this area, maybe the other areas, because I usually visit those places. I always go there, play soccer, chill with friends, and then when I get home, and I heard something just happened there, whatever. So yeah, this is the safest, I could say, the safest part. It's really tough, because it's like I'm a father figure to her now. I have to be a father figure, I have to step up. I cannot be a child anymore, because I'm not a child now. Like my friends, they'll be having their own thing, they'll be enjoying going out and whatever. Yes, I'll go out, yes, now and then, but they have parents that look after them, and and they have parents that buy them this, they get them this, they take care of them and stuff. But I don't have that. I have to be. It's just me and my sister now, so I have to take care of my sister, because she's very young and she can be very reckless, So I have to take care of her. So childhood for me is done. Like it stopped ever since my dad passed on. It just stopped. There's no childhood anymore, because I have to take care of myself firstly, and then now my sister as well. And I have to think of school, think of sports, like what I want to go do after school, Yeah, but it's a lot to take in. It is a lot. I have family from Ethiopia, from the US, so they just support me. They help me with that, like financially. They help me out with that, but then the rest I just sort out by myself.
Yeah, you have to be responsible, of course. Some probably your friends, if they got money like that from family, they would be like, partying all the time.
Exactly, but I'm not like that. I cannot do that. Changed in the way I've used money, like the way I take care of myself, my sister, like the way I live life. I had to change a whole turnaround. I had to just change everything, for the better, because I cannot be reckless now. I cannot be wasting. I cannot be doing bad things now. Like I cannot be catching my own nonsense as well. No, I don't. That's not my life. Like going out partying, drinking, smoking. That's not the life That's before I wasn't like that. I cannot change to be like that, because people have many coping mechanisms for situations like this. So some people resort to drugs, drinking, but I cannot do that. That's just not for me. I have my own way of dealing with these type of things. Yeah, circumstances changed me, yes, but I just have to discipline myself to still look forward. I cannot look back now. Yeah. Even though now my sister is on the other hand, she deals with it differently. Like she has friends that she goes out with. She's usually not at home and stuff. But I understand she's still grieving and stuff, you know. And she's still young. She still has to live her teenage life.
She knows that she can always rely on you, so...
Yeah, she does. She does that. Even though I can say I'm a bit harsh on her, but I know it's for her own good. I have to be harsh on her. She'll understand when she's old. She understands now, but she'll thank me when she's older. So yeah, it's not easy at all. But yeah, we have to push. Life goes on.
See.
Special thanks go to Sam, who connected us with Elias, and of course to Elias himself, as well as to our interlocutors, Flora and Mark. Last but not least, credit goes to my guide from Kruger's National Park, Lamps, who on the Christmas day brought me to his friends in the neighboring villages.